Hello, Pod Smashers of the Internet, and welcome to another 80-Bit Newscast. We are your hosts,
Termite. I am Penguin.
I am Termite, and of course I messed that up because my brain just went gone. But tonight we are going to run you through the weekly video game news. This is the day 80-Bit Newscast of May 10th, 2021, and we have lots of fun things to talk about tonight. What do we got?
Right, so we're going to be talking about anniversary of one of our shared favorite games for the PlayStation 4. We're going to be talking about the Epic versus Apple court proceedings and some of the reveals about that. We're going to be talking about Sony's attitudes towards crossplay and the profitability of the Epic Games Store a few years later. Those are both two stories that came out of the same that same high-level story of the Epic versus Apple court case. We're going to be talking about some interesting developments with an Insomniac game property that is owned by Sony. Insomniac is owned by Sony, but there's some questions about this particular game. We're going to be talking about some more drama going on at Google Stadia. We're going to be talking about another report from Jason Shrier regarding CD Projekt Red. We're going to be talking about some potential developments with the PS5 that may make it more easy to get in a few months. And we'll be talking about Sony's got a new logo for one of their things. So those are all the stories, the headlines of the stories that we'll be talking about. So it's a lot to cover. So let's jump in.
Well, if you like running through the news with us and you want to be here live, make sure and you're watching on YouTube, make sure you go to twitch.tv/80bitpodsmash and click the subscribe button so you can be made aware when we're live. We're here every Monday night at 8 p.m. Eastern to run through the week's news, the things that we care about, to deliver our punditry. And if you like our content so much and you want some more Penguin and Termite in your life, we also have a weekly video game podcast that goes live at midnight, also on Mondays, on our podcast platforms across the world. You can find all of that information at 80bitpodsmash.com. We just launched an episode today about neurodiversity in gaming. It was a fascinating topic that was all new. I'd never heard of anything about it at all until we prepared for that episode. So go check that out and learn more about who we are and the gaming industry and the topics you care about while we go grab a beer. So without further ado, let's jump in. Oh, the last bit of housekeeping. Save your questions and comments, concerns in chat for the end of our show, the last 5 minutes. Stack them all up, and we will address them. We'll circle back. If we have anything we've done wrong, correct us, let us know. But the very first story, if I can get started, Penguin.
Do it. It's you. You like this more than I do.
I'm very excited because today, Monday, May 10th, 2021, marks the 5th anniversary of the release of Uncharted 4. I'm going to read a little write-up from Rebecca Smith over at PlayStationLifestyle.net. Today is the 5th anniversary of the release of Uncharted 4. In a post to celebrate the occasion, developer Naughty Dog revealed Uncharted 4 had reached 37 million players as of May this month. The game also managed to rustle up over 13 million multiplayer players. The last we heard from Uncharted 4 back in October 2019, the game had sold more than 16 million copies worldwide. It was the fastest-selling PlayStation exclusive in the UK until it was dethroned by The Last of Us Part 2. So, Uncharted 4, 5 years.
Nice.
I can't believe it's already been 5 years.
I know. Yeah, Uncharted, it didn't hurt their sales that it was bundled with the PlayStation 4 for a long time. Like,
That's true.
A lot of sales, I imagine, were just because it was bundled with. But that doesn't, I'm not trying to, it's a great game.
Don't poo-poo on one of the best games, Uncharted.
I'm not poo-pooing. It's definitely one of the better definitely one of the best games on the PlayStation 4 for that, just that console. So, yeah. And one of the better entries in the Uncharted franchise. So, cool. All right, so setting the stage for the next story, we have not Google. I'm already messing it up. It's done. All right, start over. Rewind. Cut that out. We have the Epic Games, and they have started a court case with Apple regarding a breach of contract. The main issue is a breach of contract that Epic made to the Apple platform. They signed an agreement saying that all microtransaction sales will be done through Apple's store, and then they went tried to go around that they knew that what they were doing. They knew what this is going to trigger a court case. They intentionally did it, but they basically made it so that you could buy stuff in Fortnite directly through Fortnite, bypassing Apple's storefront altogether, which is a violation of Apple's terms of service. So Apple removed Fortnite from the Apple Store, and Epic is now suing them to say that, or basically to try to get it to say that Apple can't do this. So that's like the context. It's the issues at large are broader. They're about, who has the right to, or do these huge platforms have the right to be so restrictive and charge so much, take such a deep cut of the revenue of games that are sold on them. So that's the kind of bigger issue at large, and it's because of this, there's all these documents coming to light. All these documents, Epic and Apple have to basically provide all these documents to be public that were private before, and it's revealing some interesting things. So one of the things that came to light is that Epic tried to, or Epic did strong-arm Sony into making Fortnite crossplay a few years ago. We knew that was a thing that happened, but what we didn't know is that apparently Sony charges that they have to pay in order. They're the only platform that requires Epic to pay in order to provide cross-platform functionality for Fortnite. So, Termite, take it away. Give us some more deets.
Sure. Tom Warren over at The Verge has an article. Sony really hated PS4 crossplay. Confidential documents reveal. It's pretty long, so I'm going to skim down to the pertinent parts since you just kind of gave us the overarching situation where, again, Epic Games tried to strong-arm Sony into playing with them on the cross-platform. So they have this email that went to PlayStation from Joe Kreiner of Epic Games. Go read that. There's like 7 bullet points and basically selling the idea that it is a win-win for everyone. And Sony didn't agree. So Gio Corsi, Sony's senior director of developer relations at the time, dismissed the idea of crossplay, noting that, quote, cross-platform play is not a slam dunk, no matter the size of the title, a clear reference to Epic's flex about Fortnite's dominance on PlayStation, which was in that email I just mentioned. As you know, many companies are exploring this idea, and not a single one can explain how cross-console play improves the PlayStation business. It's a bold statement. But as of August 2019, it appears that Sony may have found a worthy argument, a way to potentially siphon off money from its competitors in exchange for access to PlayStation players. The email correspondence doesn't reveal where the issue ultimately ended up, but a document called Cross-Platform Policy, Requirements, and Process from August 2019, after Sony's change, reveals how Sony may now approach crossplay, a cross-platform revenue share, forcing publishers to pay Sony a royalty whenever PlayStation players contribute more than a certain percentage to the bottom line of a cross-platform game to, quote, offset the reduction in revenue from Sony enabling crossplay. And it goes on to quote more folks about that, but that's pretty much the gist of where Sony's stance was and what they do. So every time, if you remember, Sony is notorious and infamous for not allowing crossplay on their platform.
Which again, it's their, when you look at it at large, when you compare to what they're doing with the PlayStation 5 and how their approach differs from Xbox, it makes sense because their strategy is, we want to sell you PlayStations and we want you to be playing on PlayStation. We want you to only be doing that. That is fine, except when these games, these multiplayer games, force you to pick an ecosystem and stay there. When you have friends that play on one and you play on another, it kind of sucks because you can't play with your friends. So players really like cross-platform. So it's been something that's been clamored at for a while, and so now we knew that Sony was a holdout for a while about this, but now we can see that they were really putting their feet and digging their heels in the ground for a while. Mm-hmm. So
yeah, it's it. PlayStation's top dog. They've been top dog the entire generation of PS4. They have the largest player base, the largest install base, and they're the most they're using that as their leverage. They're saying, you know what? We have the most people you want, so if you want to allow PlayStation players to play Rocket League or Fortnite or whatever other game you want to play, pay up. Because we are the gatekeepers to our 100 and I don't even know how many PlayStation 4s have been sold, but 100+ million consoles of players that are out there. And of course, anyone who's making games wants to reach as many players as possible because more people will buy their game. So it's a big toss-up. It's a big money game. That's who
yep.
knew?
And though this doesn't have anything directly to do with Apple, with the court case with Apple, it was revealed through that court case, and it does just go to show that Epic has a history, one could say, of trying to challenge the platform holders, and they seem to be leaving no stone unturned in that regard. So yeah, it's business. One business flexing their muscles against another business. I don't think Epic's going to win this. I don't think they are. I think they're going to spend a lot of money fighting Apple, and Apple has more money to throw at it. So I don't think anything's going to ultimately change from this, other than Epic's dirty laundry is coming. Well, everyone, not even just Epic. Like in this case, this is Sony's dirty laundry coming up too. But everyone, I said from the beginning of this entire debacle is there's no heroes in this.
Yeah, not at all. Yeah.
No heroes.
Yep. And if you think anybody's doing anything in the gaming industry for altruistic reasons and artistic abilities being highlighted and they're all in a business to make money. That's it.
Yep.
And it just so happens that most of the time, good art and good money line up. So we get good stuff.
Sometimes. Well, yes. I wouldn't say that.
But in this case, not so much.
Yeah. All right. So, speaking of another thing that came to light as a result of this court case is apparently the Epic Game Store is not profitable yet and does not expect to be profitable until 2024. I told you it's an unsustainable business model. I said it from the beginning. I said it from the get-go.
Unsustainable means it would never turn a profit. This actually says that it will. And here's why.
They expect to, but I don't know. Go ahead.
James Batchelor over at GamesIndustry.biz says the profitability of Epic Game Store has once again been brought into question as the antitrust trial between Epic and Apple kick off. Following the company's opening statements, the proceedings primarily concentrate on examining Epic Games. CEO Tim Sweeney gave a testimony about hundreds of millions of dollars short of being profitable. That's the store, so it's not quite there yet. He attributed this to upfront costs and expects the store will turn a profit within 3 to 4 years. Further insight into these expectations can be gleaned by court documents spotted by PC Gamer, including an October 2019 performance and strategy review that features a 5-year forecast for profit and loss. The document models the future revenues for Epic Game Store based on 2 scenarios: an aggressive pursuit model, in which Epic continues to invest heavily in exclusive titles to attract new users and gain market share, and the, quote, winding down model, in which the company focuses only on meeting the minimum guarantees promised to exclusive titles up to 2021. According to the forecast, the more aggressive model would see Epic Games Store turning a gross loss of $181 million in 2019, rising to $273 million in 2020, but then reducing each year until turning a $45 million profit in 2024. Under the winding down model, the same thing will happen, but they'll make $65 million the following year. It's worth reiterating, I just skimmed that part. It's worth reiterating that this report is from October 2019, but Sweeney's comments at the trial yesterday suggest the store is still on track with these similar plans. Also gives insight into finances around both exclusivity deals and free game offerings. So this is the interesting part. Remember when Borderlands 3 came out and the whole internet raved over, not raved, what's the opposite of rage? Anger, raged. Over, yes, thank you. How Borderlands 3, its PC version was exclusive to the Epic Games Store. Well, Epic Games paid $146 million for 6 months of exclusivity on the PC version of Borderlands 3. This included an $80 million minimum guarantee, $15 million marketing commitment, and $20 million non-recoupable fees, amounting to $115 million for just the game itself. However, the deal also included the addition of Borderlands Handsome Collection, for which Epic paid $11 million, and Civ 6 for $20 million, bringing the deal to the grand total. So there's all of that happening.
How much did it say how much they made off of Borderlands 3's exclusivity? I guess they haven't. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if they have that granularity, but yeah. I mean, my question is,
but if the store is still operating at a loss, they have not recouped those fees yet. But they did get a market share that will, allows their projections to increase to the point of being profitable.
It's tough. I mean, on the one hand, most businesses aren't profitable for a few years. Period. Of course, Epic was an existing business. But still, it doesn't matter. He's right. Upfront costs, especially when you're pursuing exclusivity deals like this, are going to be hard to recoup for a while. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. When did the thing launch? Like it's 2024 is not 5 years from when it launched. It's probably closer to 6, maybe even 7. I don't remember the exact date.
Yeah, I'm
that
not
the Epic
sure.
Game Store started.
December 2018.
Right. So, I mean, exclusivity, we know exclusivity deals are profitable. You know what I mean? Like, Microsoft and Sony are proving that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, whether or not EGS would be, the other way Epic Game Stores could increase their profits is to charge the developers more.
Right.
I know that's antithetical to their goals, but this story demonstrates two things. Number one, that exclusivity deals do turn a profit and do help. On the other hand, it's clearly what's keeping them afloat because they're not making enough off of what they're charging developers.
Here's the funny part. New court documents filed in this lawsuit show that Epic Games made over $9.5 billion in total revenue. So this loss on the Epic Game Store is change. Pocket change. $100 and some million is nothing in $9.5 billion.
Yeah, Epic itself is doing fine, but the Game Store, it will depend. I suppose that its profitability and sustainability will all depend on how much Epic wants to stick it to the rest of the gaming industry.
And that's exactly what they're doing. They're just going out and like saying Apple's unfair, and we're not doing it. And they're not at any risk at all. $9.5 billion. That is insane.
Right. Crazy.
Yeah.
All right, awesome. Well, we can move on. So speaking of exclusives, Sony, who owns Insomniac, just filed a trademark for a familiar title, Sunset Overdrive, which was previously a Microsoft exclusive title that Insomniac had partnered with them to make. But as part of that deal, Insomniac kept the intellectual property of Sunset Overdrive, so Microsoft couldn't just go and make a new Sunset Overdrive. So Sunset Overdrive has been in limbo for a while because Insomniac couldn't make it because we're no longer going to partner with Microsoft due to their deal with Sony to be a studio, and then Microsoft couldn't make it because Insomniac owned the intellectual property. So there's been no remaster, nothing. It's no re-release, nothing. Just Sunset Overdrive's in limbo. But Sony filing a trademark implies that the trademark that Microsoft had or deal Microsoft had has expired probably, and so Sony filing this is a step towards a potential of getting a remaster or sequel on the PlayStation platform, which I'm over the moon about because I love Sunset Overdrive. I played it on Xbox Game Pass. I would love to be able to play it on my PlayStation, get trophies, and get even a sequel would be awesome too. So I'm into it.
Also, interestingly enough, the article I will cite here is Jordan Alleman over at IGN. The headline: Sony registers trademark for Xbox exclusive Sunset Overdrive. At the bottom, there is interestingly enough, Sunset Overdrive director Drew Murray recently rejoined Insomniac Games after a stint at Microsoft's quadruple A Perfect Dark studio, The Initiative. The only thing we have is a tweet spotted by Nibel on Twitter. The trademark was registered at the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office in late April. Doesn't confirm anything, but it is interesting given that Sunset Overdrive was initially exclusive to Xbox upon its release in 2014, later came to PC in 2018 before Sony acquired Insomniac in 2019. And this means Sony can lay claim to the game and are clearly interested in maintaining its patent, but whether they intend to actually do anything with the property is anyone's guess. We'll see.
They will. They will.
They have to be, right?
It's like, I mean...
It's free money. Just go port the game and, it's done. Go make
port
good
the
things.
game or remaster it. Like, in either case, it'll be, like... Or in both cases, in either case, it will be profitable. Like, I mean, it will... Minimal effort for Insomniac and maximum profit for all the people like me who... Well, I guess not like me. All the people not like me who have skipped out on this game because it's not on the Sony platform. I'm into it. I want it.
Yeah,
it's
great.
Give it to me.
It's on Game Pass if you have an Xbox right now, and or Windows. It's
Well, I mean, that's why I played it. Yeah, but I didn't try to 100% everything because no trophies.
Well, I was saying it's on Game Pass now, so once it's off of Game Pass, then we can really start thinking about something. I don't think it's going to be on both platforms at the same time. That's what I'm saying.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Fair enough. All right, cool. So an internal game studio shut down 6 more people. And 6 more people leave Google Stadia for Haven Studios.
Yeah, you kind of read that wrong, but you were on the same train of thought that I was. So GamesIndustry.biz's Danielle Pardis quotes, 6 additional staff leave Stadia to join Haven Studios. So what happened was Google shut down its internal development studios for Stadia months ago. And since then, there has now been people like leaving, including Jade Raymond, the Stadia VP, went and founded Haven Studios. And there's a long history with Jade Raymond, and she is a fascinating individual who was working back at EA, worked on Assassin's Creed and Watch Dogs franchises. So it was a big win for Google to get her on Stadia in an exclusive studio to make something awesome for Google Stadia. Well, she left and started Haven Studios, and now there's another exodus of 6 more additional people. And here is what Danielle writes from GamesIndustry.biz. As spotted by a poster on Reset Era, staff across multiple disciplines have taken positions at the Montreal-based studio between April and May. Among the hires are Corey May, former head of creative services and publishing at Stadia Games, and former SG&E General Manager Sebastian Puel, who is also a co-founder of Haven Studios. The departures follow the recent resignation of Stadia head of product, John Justice. Raymond left Google Stadia back in February, as I said, to start Haven Studios. Shortly after Google closed its internal development studios, the cloud-based streaming platform is still in operation, but with a focus on third-party games. Haven Studios has also received investment from Sony to develop a debut game. While the project is currently unannounced, it will be an original IP for PlayStation. So, there you go. It's going to be good, hopefully. Sounds awesome.
Hopefully.
Lots of good talent. And we don't know the 6 people that left. They just know 6 people left. So, not looking good for Google Stadia as people are still continuing to leave.
Not been looking good for Google Stadia for a while.
Yeah, but it does look good for Haven Studios making an exclusive game for PlayStation. So I'm excited. Maybe we'll find something out this E3.
Elden Ring. Oh,
from Haven Studios, just like okay.
Haven Studios is just going to announce From Software's Elden Ring.
Oh, is that what they're gonna do?
That's what they're gonna do. They're gonna be like, we have nothing to announce for ourselves, but cool, awesome. Jason Schreier reports that the director of Witcher 3 quit after an internal investigation for bullying.
Yes, this is a very interesting story, and I'm actually going to cite the great Jason Schreier, and I'm going to give a quick plug. He's got a new book, comes out tomorrow, called Press Reset, Ruin and Recovery in the Video Game Industry, and it is all about his reporting is insider interviews over hostile takeovers, abusive bosses, corporate drama, bounce checks, and that one time the Boston Red Sox's Kurt Schilling decided he was going to lead a game studio that would take out World of Warcraft. Along the way, he asked pressing questions about why, when the video game industry is more successful than ever, it's become so hard to make a stable living making video games, and whether the business of making games can change before it's too late. So, fascinating book. It comes in tomorrow. I am chomping at the bit to read all of it, and I will probably have things to talk about as I read it on our show or here. We'll see. Anyway, Jason Schreier.
Also, give us money, Jason.
I know, right? Because we plugged your book. Yeah, well, we love Jason Schreier. We always quote his articles, and we always talk about his exposés, so I figured, why not? We can be fans. Yeah. Here we are. Yeah. So he writes, Witcher game developer quits company over bullying claims. This is over at the Bloomberg, where he works. So the director of Witcher 3, the most successful video game by Polish publisher CD Projekt SA, resigned after he was accused of bullying colleagues, sending its shares to their steepest decline since March. So yet another blow for CD Projekt Red. CD Projekt conducted a months-long investigation into the allegations against Konrad Tomaszkiewicz. I don't know how to pronounce Polish names. According to an email to staff reviewed by Bloomberg. In the message, Tomaszkiewicz wrote that the commission had investigated the allegations and found him not guilty. Quote, nonetheless, a lot of people are feeling fear, stress, or discomfort when working with me. He wrote, this is him talking about himself. He apologized to staff for, quote, all of the bad blood I have caused. Tomaszewski, I can't pronounce his name. His work on Witcher 3 inspired the creation of the popular Netflix series, both based on novels by the author Andrzej Sapkowski, and one point turned CD Projekt into Poland's most valuable company. Tomaszkiewicz is also listed as a second director and head of production for Cyberpunk 2077. So he's also at the head of that, so he's gone now. His departure deepens a crisis engulfing CD Projekt after a disastrous release of Cyberpunk in December. The highly anticipated role-playing game was full of glitches and almost unplayable, and it's pulled from Sony, and we know all of that drama that he kind of goes into here. So yeah, some serious internal culture struggles, lots of employee emails, and it's yikes. He does end this article quoting Thomas Schweitz. He says, "I'm going to continue working on myself. Changing behavior is a long and arduous process, but I'm not giving up, and I hope to change." So
good for him. Hopefully he actually could do it.
Yeah, if it's sincere.
Weird, it's like they found not guilty, but at the same time, he does seem to have taken some of the criticism to heart. So more power to him. You know what I mean? Like, if you're creating if you identify behaviors in yourself that are harmful to others, then you can't make up for what you've done, but you can try to be better. And so I have utmost respect for him. So in that case, it's kind of disappointing then that he doesn't have the opportunity to not only better himself, but try to continue to make great games, because The Witcher 3 was amazing. So hopefully now I'm ready for a comeback story.
Me too. I was just thinking that. Red. Yep, it's exactly what I was queuing up in my mind to talk about.
When they flubbed Cyberpunk, I'm not saying that I took joy out of it, but on the one hand, I felt vindicated to be like, all right, look, see, even the mighty can fall. Like, no one is immune to a bad release. So I had that position for a while, but after blow after blow that's the poor CD Projekt Red's had after that, I'm like, okay, yeah, now I'm ready for them for a comeback story. So I hope Witcher 4. Take that with a grain of salt.
I'm still hopeful for Cyberpunk 2077 to come back with the next gen versions and actually improve it. Like, they talked about how they promised to make this game something people will play for years to come.
Sure.
Witcher 4 is probably 5 to 7 years away at the minimum. Yeah. And so that we're going to be pushing PS6 by that point. So Cyberpunk's it. I mean, that's all we got. We're getting next gen versions of Witcher 3, so hopefully that's good. That'll satiate us a little bit, but it's going to be a very long time. So I really want their comeback story to be Sony puts Cyberpunk 2077 back on their store. It's everything it was supposed to be, and it's been patched and fixed all like crazy, and it's really, really good. That's what I want.
Apparently they were. This is a side news article. I don't have anything to link to, but I'd read that they were using fan mods to create the next gen versions of Witcher 3. Yeah, so the PC, Steam mods, basically the custom mods that fans made to make the graphics better. They were working with those guys to basically use them. I'm like, yeah, why not? People already did have to work for you.
Yeah.
So cool.
Should be good.
I mean, as long as they give them the proper kickback for it, then yes, by all means.
Royalties.
Right, exactly. So, all right, cool. So, last two stories. So, by all means, please, if you are watching live, give us your feedback now. So cool. There is a news of PS5 already getting a mild redesign. So it is nothing crazy. It's not a PS5 Pro or anything like that. It is just a change to the CPU, likely in an effort to get more units on the shelves due to the chip shortages that the world is facing. So I'll let you quote the article you found.
Sweet. Yes, Alex Newhouse over at GameSpot. PS5 redesign reportedly coming, but it probably won't change the look. The PlayStation 5 could get a redesign within the next year or so, but it likely will be limited to its internal architecture rather than the substantial change we've seen from slim versions of past consoles. Due to the global semiconductor shortage, the PS5 CPU might get swapped to help scale up production. The potential redesign was originally reported by Taiwanese outlet Digitimes, which suggests that semiconductor foundries are already preparing for the new PS5 architecture and targeting 2022 for production. As relayed by Dr. Sirkin Toto on Twitter, Digitimes reports that Sony is aiming for a new semi-customized 6nm chip from AMD. While Digitime remains the only outlet to report on the specifics of the change, Sony itself has confirmed that it's thinking seriously about an architecture change to alleviate supply chain issues caused by the semiconductor shortage. In its earnings report, as shared by the VGC, Sony CFO responded to a question about meeting second-year sales goals by saying, for example, we could find maybe a secondary source, or by changing the design. So they reached out for Sony to comment, and that hasn't happened yet. Architectural tweaks throughout the lifecycle of a console, even early on, are nothing new, as this is exactly what I was going to say, and he's going to write it for me better. As new technology is developed for chip production and supply chain logistics, console manufacturers will occasionally overhaul certain aspects of the console's internals to make it cheaper or easier to produce. For example, less than 2 years after the PlayStation 4's launch, Sony rolled out a redesign that made the console quieter and more power efficient. The Vita even got a different redesign partway through its lifespan, even though it was largely to make the console cheaper. So, there you have it. I know that there's several iterations of both the PlayStation 3 and the Xbox 360 that look like the original launch models, but they're entirely different internals. So, there you have.
Well, this just sounds like they're swapping out a chip. I understand they may have to redesign some of the architecture for that, but I can't imagine it's going to be a huge change. I hope that it can stay as powerful as it is the base models for the people who get the new models.
Yeah. So there's a baseline dev kit. The developers know what to spec for, and every PlayStation that gets made has to meet those requirements. So it's not going to change performance of anything.
Touche. Speaking of performance, our last story comes by Push Square, and there is a new so PS5's marketing campaign releases these little mini trailers highlighting the various features of. I didn't watch it, no, but a new trailer dropped for the Game Boost feature on the PS5, which isn't anything new. It's the existing name for the feature that allows games that are patched for it, PS4 games that are patched, that have the right software patches for it, to utilize the hardware to run better. However, now it's got a new logo, which is why people are saying their eyebrows are raised. So
it wasn't even just that. This was a very curious video, and I'm gonna read Push Square's article because they write really good news. Sammy Barker is a writer, but just to watch it, I'm gonna hit play, and it might. It's a 20-second video, so you should watch it while I am talking.
I'm watching it now.
Okay, cool. So Sony released a new miniature PlayStation 5 trailer dedicated to the console's Game Boost. We haven't heard Game Boost mentioned, by the way, since Mark Cerny talked about it in his GDC 2020 non-live presentation that was all awkward and weird, but awesome. And okay, so that's one thing. Game Boost hasn't really been a thing that has been advertised or showed off. So this video shows a new logo for it, which is interesting. It looks like something
the logo looks a little phallic for my taste, but that's just
we are a family-friendly podcast.
I said phallic.
But it is a marketing buzzword. Now I'm reading the article for the way in which backwards compatibility enhances select PS4 games. Obviously, we've seen the likes of Days Gone and Ghost of Tsushima transformed with post-release patches, and it's cool. It's just overshadowed by Microsoft's superior efforts, clearly. This trailer then has captured a lot of attention. Many have pointed, and this is the kicker, to the inclusion of Shadow of a Colossus in this footage, which is a release that hasn't specifically been patched to run better on PlayStation 5 yet. Although, like all games, it uses the next-gen console's hardware to smooth out any issues that were present on the PS4 Pro. So there's the logo. It's there. It's interesting, like you said, probably a little phallic, but spaceshipy and triangles. We must admit the branding is curious, so perhaps Sony does plan to make a bigger push around this moving forwards. As for the trailer itself, it's just an extended clip from that awesome Play Like Never Before commercial that they've used a couple of weeks ago. But, I mean, things like Uncharted 4, we talked about on their anniversary, and Bloodborne could really benefit from the PlayStation 4 Game Boost. I would love to see a lot of PlayStation 4 games. Horizon. I'm so eager. I am so eager to play Horizon right now because it just came. It's free. You can still get it. You have a couple days left. Part of the Play at Home promotion that Sony's doing. So go get Horizon Zero Dawn and its DLC all for free. So when that PlayStation 5 sweet patch comes, whenever that is, it's not announced. I'm just guessing and hoping. You can play it, hopefully. That's it.
Awesome. Well, that's all the time we have. We got no questions in chat. And so if you are watching later on YouTube and wish you were here to be able to harass us, then please head on over to twitch.tv/80bitpodsmash and hit the subscribe button so that you can watch us live and give us feedback live. If you are on Twitch watching this on the replay or whatever, then also it's even easier. You can just stay where you are and hit the subscribe button. And as always, you can find more about us and the content that we put together at 80bitpodsmash.com, as Termite mentioned on the front of the show. You'll find links to all of our social medias where you can talk to us, or you can find links to all of the mirrors where you can listen to our podcast, and or you can find links to Discord where you can chat with us live and harass us live throughout our days when we were just, playing with our kids and feeding our dogs and stuff. So, do all those things and make sure that you listen to the episode we just dropped on neurotype and gaming to hear Penguin talk about his ADHD, and make sure to and then also make sure to check out Wednesday when Termite will be presumably... Actually, I'm not quite sure what we're doing yet Wednesday, but normally we would have a weekly Wednesday live stream where we'd be playing a video game, but something different's going to happen this week. We will announce that on social media, so go to those social media sites, find us. It's all 80-Bit Pod Smash, no matter what your social media choice is. So go, check it out. We'll do stuff. Yay!
We will. See you later this week.